here today. Welcome a good friend of mine, Ross Lakin, the Project and Development Manager for Parkside. Welcome here to Stirling HQ.
Thank you. We've been good close mates for many years now, so the business side of things has always just rolled along very easily.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a busy man these days because it's no secret the Parkside Group in the last few years have been certainly hit with a fair amount of challenges coming from left field.
Oh, absolutely. Look, the knocks that we've had, you know, some companies, we would break them. What the West Australian government did to us was nothing short of disgraceful. Essentially begged us to go and save the timber industry in Western Australia, and we invested many millions of dollars only for them to, without any notice, cease supply of logs and shut down the native forest hardwood industry completely. So it shattered us in terms of, you know, we worked so hard to make those businesses over there really good. We built a state-of-the-art dry mill. We spent millions in the green mills, and also employed, you know, nearly 350 odd people. So
I think that's a real valid point that people often miss. We can all talk about capital investment and innovation and technology, because it certainly did, but the reality is our mills and our industries is full of mums and dads and kids and good hard-working Australians, aren't they?
Well, mate, when we were in Manjimup and we were rebuilding the dry mill, which was our biggest investment, once we started, the town had a spring in its step.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where you went. If you wore a Parkside logo in that street, you were smiled at, almost thanked by some people. Well, we were thanked by some people.
Wow.
And
wow.
to see it now, after we've had to close it down, that town is a sad town. The streets have gone quiet again. You know, they just lost hope. And this is what the state governments don't see in these regional areas where the timber industry is active and it's always based in. You don't see too many sawmills in the middle of Brisbane. You see them in the regional centres, and that's where we employ people. It's where we're proud to you know, employ good, honest, hard-working country people, and they're grateful for the jobs, and to have state governments for no other reason except to satisfy a pointless ideology that has no scientific basis on anything to do with climate change, on anything to do with forest health, is a disgrace. And their legacy will be to have to look in the mirror and say, I shut down the most viable industry in this state. Because Western Australia is a big quarry. It's what it's treated like. You can knock down, they're going to knock down thousands of hectares of jarrah forest just this year and next year, and that's okay because it's for a mining company. We go in a selective harvesting, sustainable process, and we're good for the forests. But that, you know, that gets shut down, and it just breaks me.
Yeah.
Now, as a company though, we just got to get up and keep moving. So we've brushed ourselves off. We've still got a small operation running in WA.
Yeah.
At Nana, we've got, you know, quite a few thousand cubic metres of wood to process still. That was in strip, and we're doing that at Nana with a small crew, and we're just keeping a little bit of an active presence there. But sawmilling over there has ceased.
Okay, so your sawmilling is finished, but your dry processing, you're still active.
Yeah, so it's small. It's a small planing line doing about 30 cube a day. So,
okay.
And then if we want to move into Victoria, my goodness, even worse the way Dan Andrews and that's Labor state government, and I can't help but be political about it because it's a left-wing ideology again, has no scientific basis. You know, green activists who seem to get heard, ABC love them, you know, follow them around, champion them, and don't care about the real voice and and the heartbreak and heartache and loss it causes in those regional centres. You know, Orbost employed nearly 30 people in a small regional town. It was the lifeblood of the town. It's finished. Again, Orbost, a town that had a spark in its life. And now there's just anger and frustration and sadness.
Yeah.
You know, people's homes can't be paid for, and that'll flow on down to Bairnsdale. No, the Andrews government down there, every single person in that government needs to hang their head in collective shame. They are a disgrace to it. It's a blight on Australian politics.
I can densely sense and feel your frustration, and it all comes out, the passion, and it really symbolises who we are in the timber industry. So, faced with the challenges you've done, you're certainly resilient, the Parkside Group.
Oh look, and it's a family company, and it has strong leadership from the owners through to our managing director and Peter Tapiolis. Our CEO and John McNamara, they just get up and keep going, look for other opportunities. We've always had our base in Queensland. Queensland is our home state. It's where our biggest operations are, well, up until we went to WA. But it's been our one constant. And what we've looked to do over the last 10 years is convert to the best product range, but also the best value for the company, the beautiful resource that we have in Queensland. Spotted gum, red and grey ironbark, forest red gum. But spotted gum is 80% of our production, and it's probably the best hardwood species in Australia in terms of drying, machining, finishing. Don't get me wrong, it has its challenges, but you know, it is a species that, you know, I'm grateful that we have. And it's beautiful. I mean, stuff behind us.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's stunning. So,
and it's desired in this marketplace.
Oh look,
for
it
its practical application, for its visual.
It is sought after.
Aesthetics. It doesn't matter whether it's flooring, decking, cladding, the features. Now making the joinery companies turning that into joinery for medium to high end homes. So there's a massive application base for it.
Look, domestic, commercial, it doesn't matter. It fits every bill.
Yeah.
So look, wanting to value add that same piece of wood fibre has always been our challenge, and trying to extract the best value out of it. I mean, a piece of hardwood decking 10 years ago was a commodity. You know, we've changed the way we package it. We've changed the way, and look, packaging doesn't sound like much, but when you are competing with an imported product that is packaged well, that's how people want to see an Australian-made product. It's easy to handle. You know, we're about to go into a full coated decking product that's done in line. It's done using high quality coating product, and it will give protection to the timber even more, you know, in applications where you have to go close to the ground or subfloor ventilation is an issue. By having it coated on all sides, just gives that added bit of protection and security for the owner, but also for us as a supplier. We don't want to have an issue with the product in any situation. So the next challenge for us is, you know, just how to value add some of our lower grade products, even down to our residues.
So future products, future developments definitely on the cards for you guys. But let's talk about the last 10 to 15 years, because that past decade or so has seen a massive transformation.
Massive.
in the whole processing of your beautiful species into a finished product. Can you talk to me about that, from where we were, or where you were in 2009, 2010 to where you now stand in 2023?
Okay, so look, if we take a step back, we were a little bit like every hardwood sawmiller. You know, get a log, break it down, sell some as green offsaw hardwood, just cut your residue, you fall down into boards, you know, dry some for flooring, dry some for decking. And I guess.
And that worked well for you for that period.
Well, it's what worked for the entire industry. it's not a new thing for someone to want a value add. What we had to do was give people and make them see the value in what they had. Green offshore hardwood, it's getting harder and harder to get, but it's still a very sought after product. The renovation market in Queensland, everyone here wants a deck on their house. We love being outside. We love spending time. We've got good weather, unlike some of our poor cousins down south where it's cold. We've got a very temperate climate that allows us to spend.
To really enjoy the outsides.
Outsides
is our inside.
And that reflects in, seriously, the amount of decks that people build. When someone wants to renovate, one of the first things they want to do is either rebuild a deck or build a new deck. And what goes with that? Bearers, joists, posts, rails, decking, rafters, the whole thing.
It's like peas and carrots, isn't it?
It is wonderful. If I can compliment a past federal government, that renovation package that Scott Morrison put together, Albanese was all about who's got $150,000 in the bank. I don't. What $150,000 meant in that renovation space was a big build. It wasn't a new kitchen, it wasn't a new bathroom, which is what it would have been if it was a $50,000 limit on what you could get a grant for. That would have looked after the cabinet makers, but done nothing else for anything pretty well. The $150,000 renovation meant a big job, and it stimulated the entire economy. But look, being attached to not just the new residential build in a small way, don't get me wrong, that's the softwood space for that framing market, but we get some posts, we get some decks on new builds, but the renovation market is always there. If people can't build a new house, they'll renovate one. And so we just capitalise on that in terms of saying we want to make our product the one that people want to choose first. So we get our grade right, get our packaging right, get our tallying right, simple fundamentals that mean, when people buy our product, they're not going to have a problem. It's a simple transaction. It goes in place and it looks fantastic. So.
So it sounds easy, doesn't it? What you do.
It's a simple recipe.
But the complexity to actually achieve that requires a dedicated focus, which is certainly that.
Well, we just had to change the way we thought about an order. It's easy for a company to get an order, cut it, send it, forget about it. But you have to give the order some respect. And with that comes making sure the timber's to grade. Making sure it's fit for purpose, making sure that it meets all the criteria in terms of, your treatment, H level, ensuring that if you send out a pack of timber, this is how I think. If you send out a pack of timber, and a rough pack of decking has 150 odd pieces of wood in it, and you put one rubbish piece of wood in it, then that's a rubbish pack. It's no longer a great pack of wood. It's a rubbish pack of wood because they're going to think about that one
piece
stud, which they're still getting charged $5 a linear metre for. They've got to throw it out, and you've just got to get that out of your mindset to think it's okay to put one piece in. And every sawmiller does it. Every sawmiller does it. Stick a couple of duds in there, put them in the middle. She'll be right. They don't know it's there until they get to the middle. But all it does is devalue not just your product, but your brand and who you are. So, we don't accept one bad piece of wood in a pack. Now, that doesn't mean to say we won't put products to grade in there. And I can tell you now, if every piece of wood had all the defects that are allowable in the Australian standard in them, you'd never sell a pack of wood. Because it's an ugly bit of wood. So obviously you're always better than the grade. But we use the standard, and we'll apply that for all of the defects that are allowed. So, gum vein, pinhole, knock sizes, all those things. But the customer has to make sure that every piece of wood he's got is fit for purpose, it's to grade, and that he can use every bit. because he's paid for it.
So it's interesting you talk about that being the fundamental starting blocks of what you want to do. In order to do that, the Parkside Group has invested in scanning technology, docking saws, and matches to keep up with the speed that they can do. You sort of realise that you've got to take that away from the individual, not because you're not a nice guy, but just to set a set of parameters that says I'm going to read every board like this, and then be able to confidently go to market to say, mate, we've read it like that.
Look, there's nothing wrong with visual grading product, but you can only do it at a certain speed.
Yeah.
When I first went to Parkside, and when I left Hine, and when I left Darlamise, it didn't matter. If you wanted to run fast, you just threw people at the production line, and it's chaos.
Yeah.
Grade diminishes. You might have one guy grading for an hour. He goes to the toilet, someone else takes over. It just is chalk and cheese. So by introducing scanning, where we set the defect allowances for every single piece, we know that consistency is there.
Yeah.
But what it also does is give us speed. And the key for us was, and this is just a fundamental business piece of knowledge, the more you can get through in a shorter amount of time, the more efficient you become. Right? But boy, running hardwood at over 110, 120 metres a minute. When we first spoke about that, I actually received calls from industry, people I would hold high regard for, who said, Roscoe, what are you thinking? It's random length. Those sort of speeds don't happen in hardwood.
Yeah.
It's not to say we're the first people to ever run those fast at hardwood, but to do it with the exceptional finish, which we get from all your touring, mate. We talked about, the relationship we have with Accurate wasn't just about us buying steel. It was developing a solution that gave us the ability to design a cut ahead with the right angles, to design a grade of carbide that allowed us to joint.
To do it, yep.
And that grade, and that all took years to develop. So, it's not just a transactional thing. We created a way to do this better than anyone ever has before.
Yeah.
I'll challenge anyone to, if they can stick a bit of spotted gum through their planer and get it looking like the way we do, good luck.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot in it. Like you talk about that last 13 years. We started around 30, 35 metres a minute. And we said, right, well, our first jump was to go to 60. And the whole key was, the focus was finish and consistency.
Yep.
Uptime.
Yeah.
So we didn't, I don't think the parameters set in the early days was unrealistic to go from 35 to 60. But once we achieved that.
Well, 60 is a common number. Getting the 60 to 80 but maintaining that finish was the challenge.
But it changed the way the machines were
Mate,
set up, it changed the tooling,
there wasn't a cut ahead.
knives.
Wasn't a cut ahead on the shelf that had the right angle for that carbide with our grinding angle to not get tear out.
To do it.
To give us that. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
So we had to create it.
Yeah. So it was exciting times. We had some
frustrating.
We had some losses. We had some great wins clearly because you're now sitting at 110, moving at 120 metres a minute. But
to do it with random lengths, mate, that to me, it's easy to do it when you've got all 6 O's or 4 8's. Boom, boom, boom. But you throw a 0.9 in it, or 1200.
And the different density
and a
of
2.4.
timber, different curly grains, the same finish. Everything's against us.
Bit of spring and bow. Look, it's crazy, but we bought the best gear that was available at the time. 450 quantum docker, 3 feet speed accelerates up to 460 metres a minute, up to 9 cuts a second. It's just crazy when you even say that. The scanner's doing around 150,000 calculations a second. That's 10 times more power than the computers that sent the first rocket to the moon. But what that step, that scanning, docking, and matching capability allowed us to grow, to install a bin sorter, to dock every piece in 100mm increments accurately. All the while, grade is perfect. When I first went there, we cranked up to 60 metres a minute with the old chalk line system, And mate, it was chaos.
It was
seriously.
chaos.
You walked out of
part
there
of it, mate.
stressed, thinking, "What is going on? There's timber everywhere. People are angry because they just can't keep up."
Yeah.
Now you walk in there and it's flying. This mill just sings. Everyone's happy. People don't have to run to keep up. It just works, you know. It seriously is. You're proud when industry colleagues come through, and you know, I mean, it starts at the housekeeping, you know.
Yeah.
Never accepting a piece of wood on the ground, a bit of dust in the corner, has to be spotless.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
And anyone that comes to our site, well, the first thing they do when they come in, they go, "Oh my God, it's so clean."
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, when you go to Fennings down in Victoria, you're blown away by how
It's blown away.
because traditionally, sawmills, hardwood especially, associated with rubbish lying around everywhere, and old bits of machinery and old packs of wood you couldn't sell, and yeah, we don't have any of that. So, no, look, we're really proud of that, and you know, we've been recognised with industry awards and all of those things, but that's not what the company brags about. It just brags about the fact, quietly to itself, every bit of wood we send out of here is spot on.
Yeah, and you know, how the challenges moved around. Even, you know, you talk about the challenges you face from a feedstock survival between WA and Victoria, but if you go back to the scale you had moving up, your challenges moved. It wasn't just cutter heads. Then you had to get feed rollers. You had to get universal shafts. Now you've got a motor there that's...
Well, the motor that runs the first top head on that 22B, it's all going through a 22B, 1984 model. You know, it's like getting a 70 HZ Kingswood racing at Bathurst today.
Yeah.
You know, but what we do, you know, we spend $100,000 a year keeping this thing spick and span.
Perfect. Yeah.
It is perfect. You know, there's not a bad bearing.
Yeah.
Everything, bed plates, everything are always perfect. Pressure pads. But yeah, we beefed her up. She's got truck tail shafts, driving
Tail
everything
shafts
now.
on it.
Universal joints.
Mate, it's
Half a ton of top head motor sitting there. The machine frame itself can't hold the motor, so we've had to prop it with, you know, pneumatic rams that rise and fall with the head. It's cool. It really is. And when you walk in there and you look behind this 22B,
it looks ridiculous.
and everyone's seen hundreds of them.
What's it doing there?
What is that? It looks like it's a motor off a multi-rig, you know, and a big one.
But even still, the load that takes at the feed speed you're running, when you start getting out in your 6 and your 8 inch, it's huge. And then that changes to getting control systems put in place when amperage reaches a certain point. Instead of cutting the motor out, you slow the feed rate down, it gets under control, then it ramps back up again when it reaches back. So even that control system, we sort of take for granted now in the new equipment we've got.
Yeah, it's part of anything you buy that's new, but we had to develop that ourselves.
Yeah, the processing, when you've got machines that are not designed for that, but we overcome that. So.
Yeah, when Whitey come and, you know, come to our mill, they look at that 22B and just go, how did you make it do that? But not just that, it's like, what have you done to it? You know, it's not designed to do that.
Yeah.
And look, the reason I don't think we ever sort of need to upgrade it to a new machine is because it works. Yeah. It didn't matter if I put a new machine in, I would still spend $100,000 a year maintaining it. It doesn't make any difference. Brand new 1984. Unless you do that, you don't get the consistent results every single day.
Yeah.
You know.
But certainly your investment's moved away from the processing line, you moved it into the grinding room, or your machines now are automatic, so that was a good development work towards between the two companies, seeing that side of the process chain, a critical part, because if you don't get it right there, it's not right.
That's
on
where
the
it
machine.
started.
Yeah.
That's where it started. It started in two places. It started in the grade and packaging, making sure that people were getting the amount of wood they were paying for, making sure it was the right grade, and then making sure it was the right finish. You know, when I first started, a previous general manager, the only thing he would ever ask, what volume did you get through today? And for me, the frustration was just, the volume will come, but what you should be asking is, how much sellable wood did you run today? Because I tell you what, we ran a lot of unsellable wood. Yeah. And you know, it was frustrating, because you've got this beautiful feedstock sitting there, and you've cut it, dried it, you know, got it prepared to go to the moulder. Just to run it too fast because everyone's so focused on what number. You got all tear out wood coming out the back end. Well, it's slow it down. What are you doing? This is not a result. Anyway, look, the good thing was the owners embraced the ideology we needed to bring, and they wanted it. They were craving for it. I just don't think they could. At that stage, the right team members all weren't in the right place at the right time, and we built that team, and that's what it's been about. Not just a team of colleagues inside Parkside, but the team with the likes of you guys, the partnership we also had with Weinig. You know, it's what allowed us, and also another engineering firm that also built a lot of the gear in the background. Without those close relationships and the understanding of what all of us understand we want to do and what we want to achieve and where we want to get to, you know, that's what makes it a success. And I can tell you now, some people will be proud in their, you know, none of us will go on our deathbed, lie back and go, gee, I wish I worked more, right? We all know that. But, you know, I think I can look back and be proud of that part of my career a lot. And we're still going, we're not sitting still, mate. As you know, you see what we've got in the pipeline, what we're still doing.
No, and I think that's the exciting and the positive part that, you know, the last 13 years has been an incredible journey. We together have learned so much. The experiences, the technology, the failures, the successes. We now are further ahead, and now that passes largely and to the commitment from companies like Parkside. That now can get flow on through to the timber industry, and it's not about taking secrets from one company to another. No. This is about us as an entire industry collective coming together and doing the right thing. Because,
mate, when I hear of a company that goes, oh no, you're not to come and look at what we do, I think, mate, you're not doing anything special. You're a sawmill, for goodness sake. You're a dry mill. Nothing you have is nothing I can't go and find. But for me, I love sharing it, and you know why? When someone is on a spotted gum deck, they don't know it's Parkside, whoever, Dale Myers, Pentar, Herb. They don't know. It's just spotted gum decking. And I want every spotted gum deck out there to be great.
Perfect, yeah.
As I said, go and stand on a deck. If it's beautiful, if it looks great, but no one knows what sawmill produced it. It's a spotted gum deck, or it's a black butt deck, or it's a Merbau deck, whatever species it is.
And people talk about it.
People love it.
Love it. That's the whole
so
purpose.
If I can help someone produce their spotted gum decking even better, I will. Come and have a look at what we do, mate. I can tell you now. I just giggle. Oh, you're not coming to look at our mill? Whatever, mate. You know, good luck.
You know, this is the whole purpose of doing this type of thing here. You know, as a collective industry, and I appreciate you coming down to Stirling HQ, because you are an extremely busy man at the moment, and trying to track you or coming into to Brisbane particularly, it's hard to do nowadays. And I thank you for coming in and doing this with us today. But our industry is full of good people. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing about it.
Yeah. And you rarely meet a dud.
Yeah,
they're out there.
Oh yeah, we understand.
But you know, it's full of great blokes. I just come Saturday night at the ATFA gala dinner awards night, and mate, just a room full of great people. And you know, in every other day we're competitors. Sometimes we're allies, but we all just one big family, and that's, you know, it's one of the other reasons I love it. And
yeah. Well, look, I know the next 10 to 13 years is going to be just as exciting in the journey, and I'm looking forward to I'm looking to the times where we fall over and then we pick each other up and go, oh, what do we learn from that? And in order to see new product developments, new changes in innovation technology, getting consistency of product grade out, requiring, we all understand and are feeling firsthand the labour, the work skill shortage. People just wanted to come up and work. Like that's you nearly got to give them a bonus and rock up for 5 days. But at the end of the day, we overcome them. Like at the end of the day, we're not alone and are together. So the whole purpose of this type of a series we're going to do is to really bring this out, that guys like yourself and the company Parkside, certainly from a Stirling point of view, our commitment and passion is the improvement to make today better than it was yesterday. That is whatever role we have asked, given the responsibility to play. That's what we do. And it's exciting times. What we've already learned, how we can transfer that information into the existing customer base here. What new developments and what we are going to push the limits, because we never ever will sit at the top of Everest. That's one thing for sure. Our company, your company, as an industry, I think the future is got a wonderful, beautiful outlook. We have some challenges outside that will never go away, but it's about the commitment. Right, I'm going to turn left and give up, or turn right and say, right, what do we do now?
Exactly. We can't sit around and mope about whether we're one election result away from not having an industry. We've just got to be optimistic, push forward, grasp what we have, and make the most of it, and have a good time along the way, mate.
Well, mate, I know you're a busy man. I know you have to get out all day because you got people to meet up this afternoon. But mate, thank you for coming in today.
Pleasure.
Love to see you more. I've got to tell you.
Oh, well.
We talk a lot. We teams meet now more than we do this handshaking. But
anyway,
we had we had a couple of beers last night too, so it was good fun.
All right.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you. See ya.
See ya. Bye.